What's happening, legends? Welcome to another episode of Meta Legends Live. I am your host, Rose here. Let's meta dive into it. So we are going to have a little bit, we're making slight changes. We're introducing these new ideas and concepts as we're going throughout and adjusting the podcast to just kind of test some different areas. So today we're going to have a little bit of a different structure. We are not going to have an interview, but I'll tell you what we're going to have in place. So first off, what we're going to be doing on today's episode is running through some of the announcements. We got a couple of cool announcements to talk about, so make sure you stick around for those. Then, in place of the interview, we're going to talk about a story. It's going to be, we might kind of figure out a name for it, maybe story time, something fun, who knows, but I'm going to call this story, Wow, That Was Close. And then we're going to kick it back in the lounge after that. So if this is your first time tuning in, stick around. We have a lot of cool things in store. And just to give you a little idea of what Meta Legends is, we are a collection currently of 12,345 legends that are categorized by their level of rarity. And they're generated with hundreds of different elements. Our goal is to create a complete ecosystem. And, we're attacking that first by developing an application, a social application called MetaConnect. And this is going to be a great thing. We're going to utilize this to connect our community members and a lot of others around the world. Then what we're going to be doing is we're also in the works of developing our metaverse, Meta Life. And that is going to be incredible. Right now, we have the Studio Antinomy working on that for the website for the Meta Life. It's exciting. Also, the MetaConnect app. So more in store about that, just to give a little bit of background, though. And all right. So without further ado, let's dig into the meat. All right. First, we're going to talk about some of the announcements. Just to give a little bit of the review of the week, big shout out to Boss Lady for the incredible interview, the podcast that we had on Wednesday. It was so much fun. I had a blast, and I look forward to having many more experiences and opportunities like that moving forward. And, we are here in the calendar on Saturday. We had the quiz going on earlier today, and then tomorrow we have another quiz at 4 p.m. UTC, followed by a design lesson with the man himself, 3D Monster. So cool stuff going on. Then we're going to have a fresh reset for the next week. And just to talk about a couple of announcements. So our sweeper contest is now over. We want to give a big shout out to everybody that participated in it. We had 135 sweeps in total, and about 100 of those were added to our files. And so if you have yet to submit your ticket, go over to the Discord and make sure to submit that, so then you can get your chance to get in on the raffle. And now what's being raffled? What's being given in that place? It's going to be I believe it's a gold boy. Yes, here it is. We're going to be drawing to win a gold boy due to the level of participation and how many were swept. And this drawing is going to take place to coincide with the honorary legends. So the honorary legends are coming to an end in mid-April. What we're aiming to do is make sure that we're aligned for those aspects. So it's going to be cool. Make sure to hold on to your legends until then. Don't be paper handing. It's going to cost you a chance in that raffle. So again, make sure that you have your thing listed and you don't list it under an ETH until the draw. And good luck to those of you that did do the sweeping. And again, congratulations to the team for pulling off another cool, interesting way or a strategy to do that. But now we're going to talk about something a little bigger, which is The Office. So if you've seen in the past couple of days, there has been a lot of posts from the founders of The Office in Dubai, and it looks wonderful. It looks incredible. So, we want to make sure that we are keeping our community well informed, and we want to help. We want the community to help us to decide things. That's what we have the community for, to help guide some of the direction, some of the decisions that we want to make. And we really want to get involved to have the community do some of these aspects. So it's something we want to really push out there is, since we just acquired this new office, we really want to ask for the community's perspective on, how should it be designed? And just to give you a little idea about it, we signed this deal for the office in the Dubai Marina area. Ooh, it's a beautiful place. And, it's about 350 square meter surface, and our team is going to settle and thrive into those areas. What we're looking to do is, make sure that everybody's feeling comfortable. We want it to be comfortable for the team that's going to be there, and also for the legends that are going to come and visit, because that is one of the biggest things that we want to make all of you aware of, is that this is going to be an opportunity for everybody to come and check it out. Who is a legend? It's going to be cool. We're going to have this incredible office out there. We're going to have the team collaborating and working through things. And we're going to have legends like yourselves coming out there and able to experience some of that with us. And it's exciting. So we cannot wait for some of that. We have a lot of cool things. Check it out. We dropped some of the information about it in the Discord. So definitely, again, we wanted to give the idea to the community. And earlier today, we dropped it to a vote. And I'm going to be revealing that vote here at the end. It's out there. So if you want to have any last minute changes to it, there could be time still. So go head out to the Discord, vote on the mood board that you want the office to be designed as. And what is a mood board? It's going to be kind of the design of the office. And so here are the options. I'm going to throw them up on the screen here real quick. So option 1 is this mood board. Ooh, look at that. Pretty nice. It's a brighter concept. It looks really productive. I mean, I feel like I'm being productive looking at this picture, right? And then we are looking at the second option here. Boom. Ooh, look at that. It's a little bit darker, a little bolder. It's got this different kind of energy to it. Oof. And, but this is the thing. Neither one of them is a bad option. These are both great options. So this is still the time. If you want to go and cast your vote, head over to the Discord and get that sorted. At the end, I'm going to be checking, and, we'll see we'll see which has been decided on. Awesome. So again, this is awesome. It's going to be something that's going to take about 10 weeks to develop once we finally decided on it. But again, we wanted the community to be involved with it and to really just create this ambitious environment for the meta legends to share and to visit and be involved with. So cool stuff happening there. Now, that is about it for the announcements, because I want to jump over to something that has really been interesting today. And we're going to talk about, wow, that was close. So I did a little bit of research, not a little bit, I did a lot of it. And I found quite a few articles discussing different topics about, just how well protected we are in the Web3 space right now. And there is a lot of risk. That's the thing that I've noticed, that these articles have been really highlighting that, hey, we are in this new space, and these people that are developing maybe social engineering tactics to hack and take advantage of you, they're getting very creative. And I want to walk through an example here with Thomas G.eth. And, we're going to just run through it, get a little bit of an understanding. And I think this would be very beneficial for those that are concerned or want a little perspective on security and the aspect and the impact of some of these socially engineered attacks. Okay, so let's check it out here. Okay, I'm going to go through a lot of these different posts. It's a thread, and here we are. I'm going to just touch on them. So for Thomas G, he has been targeted with this really incredibly made social engineering tactic, and it almost cost him a lot. So what does this really look like? It was, just to give a little bit of background, sorry, he is the founder of Arrow, which is a DAO working to build an open source VTOL aircraft and an air taxi protocol. It's really interesting stuff. You want to go learn more about it. They're earlier on in their stages and they're focusing on growing their team. So they were looking for recruiting and other people to come aboard to help out in the project. That is where Heckshine came in. So Heckshine joined their Discord, and this was in February, or end of January, February. Heckshine joined their Discord and came off as this person that works at Ubisoft and offers to help them with a couple of different 3D design and animation aspects. So it was a great idea. Yes, Thomas was interested in it, so they pursued it to see what would happen. And he also, Heckshine had a friend, right? So people who have friends, they're great because, sometimes these friends are important people. For example, right here, Heckshine had a friend that was also very passionate about the VTOLs and was working on a metaverse project, which, her brother-in-law is a vice president at Boeing, the big plane, the large airplane and aerodynamics company. So it's, like I said, great connection, right? So here we go. We're building up. And then, over the next couple of days, Heckshine was working on some different aspects of the project, and there were some pretty cool animations. So Thomas was impressed with it, and he was really happy with the dedication to the project. And while all this was happening, again, he was reaching out to the friend that they had called Lynn. So here now enters Lynn, and she's apparently really interesting in. And Heckshine was asking Thomas to send an email about some different aspects to get that connection. So they made the connection, and Lynn responds back with a thoughtful email, tells a bit about, her project, also it's called Space Falcons, and wasn't initially sold on it, but after, just his perspective on NFTs is that some of them have this essence of a cash grab, which, looking at a lot of different projects, that is definitely an aspect to it. So I could definitely agree with it. But, he was like, it could be a good idea. So he was definitely checking out to see what more could happen from there. So they got talking a little bit more about the connections with Boeing/Wisk, and they offer some thoughts to his, protocol Arrow. And, she seemed really eager to help with the potential partnership. And he was having some subtleties in their emails that they were exchanging that were kind of making him a little bit cautious, but not yet throwing up a flag. He was just assuming that it was a language barrier. So interesting to understand that aspect. Then, they moved the conversation forward, Thomas and Lynn, and they took it over to the Discord where they talked more about, how they can help out in the team, see where she best fits. So then after they establish this understanding, they go to talk more about, her project Space Falcon. And again, it seemed like a get rich quick scheme, but that's how he perceived a lot of NFT projects. So with what she was going to be doing to Arrow, or for Arrow in the support aspect, he was, no harm in showing a little bit of support for her project. So that's where he started to, look into Space Falcon, and they're using this thing called Armstrong wrapped ether. And he didn't really understand it, but, didn't even bother to do the research either. So apparently these users were able to lease these NFTs, and it can provide some sort of passive income to their holders. And it seemed like a neat idea to him at the time. Wanted to stay informed and learn more about it. So it's cool stuff. But somewhere in here, he started to actually look up Space Falcon because he never heard of it, but it seemed fairly popular gaming project on Solana. So, he looked at it, saw on the team's page that saw Lynn's name, and it was cool. So he's like, all right, sweet. I'll stay in touch, blah, 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 and he'll move on. So for the next extended period of time, like 10 days or so, the Heckshine is being active in Discord, and he's putting together some cool renderings. They're not particularly airworthy in his opinion, but he was super excited and in helping figure out how to improve some of the different aspects of the project. So again, this is something that Thomas really wanted to emphasize, was that Heckshine was really dedicated to this project or the work that he was doing. And so he was sold on his dedication. And then, going into it further, he started to get a little crazy and had to start DMing back and forth for a while about a lot of the different designs for their V1 aircraft. And so it was a lot of information being passed back and forth. And, they were wrapping things up, and, Lynn reaches back out after a couple of these things were starting to develop with some crazy exciting news. She's like, okay, hey, I'm going on tour with the Whisk facility, and they've invited me to meet them, Thomas to meet them as well. And she sends a screenshot of the conversations that she's having with the actual, VP at Whisk. So it was definitely something to check out. And, this is where he starts to understand, looking back in hindsight, it was kind of absurd, but he had no reason to think that this would be real. So he set up a date to go on this trip, and they continue to move along with this process. And eventually, this is where Lynn started to mention that their staking app was launched. So she offered to send him an NFT, which he accepted. And this is where things started to get a little interesting. So she sent Thomas the instructions on the staking app, and the site seemed fine to him, but there were some different prompts to interact with on the screen for the different NFT approvals and whatnot. And it was where, he started to look into it, but was looking at what was going on next. So here's where he mentions that, he got incredibly lucky. So, he was investigating into the staking aspect of it. He was using his hot wallet, but this is where it got to a new level. So since it was a new project, he finally decided to move that NFT that was given to him by Lynn over into another address. And then he, before he started to go through with the staking process. So he got it out of his main wallet, moved it over, which was a smart idea. So he was more concerned about, just in case later on down the road that this project was going to get exploited by others. So it was just something that he was being cautious about in a sense. So good on him. And, he reached back out, let Lynn know that, hey, I moved it over here, blah, blah, blah. It was easy to get this stuff staked. And then she started to be a little bit pushy back to him about saying, here, I want you to send this one, put it in your main account. It's going to be valuable. Want you to have it protected, trying to really get that NFT into his main wallet. And so he then let her know that he's going to start reading through some contracts before he stakes it in his main account. And again, this is where she starts to change tone a little bit. So this is where he started to finally realize that something is up. And so he pulls it up on the Etherscan. He starts going through the contract and the addresses just to understand these things a little bit. And he, I'm going to quote him here. He's like, so I pull up Etherscan for the new address where I staked the first NFT, and my blood goes ice fucking cold. So what he identifies is that this Armstrong ETH is not Armstrong ETH. It was actually under something else called Aves ETH. So it's this is where he, switches gears completely. He's like, all right, time to ghost these scammers, and eventually deleted all of them on, all their Discord messages and stuff. And this was what I thought was funny, in a final attempt, like Lynn tries to send Thomas back 2.2 ETH to cover gas fees. So then he can send the NFT back. And I completely agree with Thomas. He's like, what is the logic in that? And, it was then he started to do some further digging because he was not happy with how this whole situation played out. Time dedicated, time lost. And, he was looking into further things about this, where he found this truly terrifying function. And this is where, he could have lost all of his ETH. And, like I said, as he was continuing to scan through it, he found the source of their funds, and it had a well-sourced, funded, smart contract. And so he assumed that, this team was really good at what they were doing. They even hired a 3D artist, a design contractor that was able to, push out whatever Heckshine's work was. And they also built a lot of those custom contracts on the front end that made it look as if, it was a legitimate project. So it was some very, very interesting stuff. So then he's like, all right, about that Space Falcon, everything seemed legit, right? Well, wrong. As far as he was concerned, or as far as he found out, the real project on the Solana was spacefalcon.io. This is the domain that they were using. So the scammers were somehow managed to acquire the .com. So the scammers were using the spacefalcon.com, and they were able to replicate almost precisely. It was crazy to see this, that, he's been interacting with this imposter this entire time. And so, he had a couple of key takeaways from this whole event. And it was, token approvals can be super dangerous. So make sure that when you're going through them, you're being extremely cautious. And, this has made him think twice about a lot of things as he's pursuing them. And there's also this aspect of put a cap on your approvals when you can. So looking into the different ways that you can put a cap on the transactions that flow throughout your contracts, definitely something to consider. And number two, scammers, they are getting smarter. Like Thomas mentions here in his tweet, before this space, the best scam he was, or before this incident, the best scam he was getting was like, hey, I'm support, send me your private key so we can help. And that's obviously a little bit easier to identify. But again, this is a crazy ordeal, a crazy situation that took place. And I mean, just think about that. Just think about, he could have lost so much more that were all inside of his actual wallet, the main primary wallet, where it contains a lot of his assets there. So the big thing here is that, we want to make sure that our community is being safe. They're being smart, and they're understanding, when they go through and they're clicking on different things, whether it's on their wallet, whether it's in the Discord, make sure you're understanding what you are accepting. Okay. Make sure you're reading through. All right, is this the correct currency that I'm accepting? Is this the right contract that I'm pushing onto this protocol? Understanding the different aspects of those elements is important, because it just takes one little loophole for you not to see like a difference between a .io and a .com, for you to lose your entire wallet because you were pursuing an opportunity or something. And this is something we really want to bring into focus, because as we continue to develop, with great opportunities, there comes great risks. And that is one of these right here, highlighted perfectly. So we want to make sure that, making sure that you understand security and how it can impact and drive a lot of this scamming in the environment, the hacking and the social engineering. It's very preventative if you understand a lot of the different aspects. And so that's something that Meta Legends as a team is looking to put a lot more a lot more focus toward, because we want to educate our community. We want to educate others. We want to educate, anybody that's involved in the NFT crypto Web3 space about how to better protect themselves. So make sure that, you're tuning in for some of these things. We're going to start creating a library of information for videos about how-tos or things to identify and understand. We're going to definitely be looking to reach out to different people in the field of the security aspect to understand, bring on an interview, get a better gauge of how to, mitigate a lot of these risks, because community, we care about you, and we don't want you falling for something as simple as this. Not as simple, but something that you can identify different simple things, which could avoid a huge, elaborately drawn out scheme like the one that Thomas G.ETH was experiencing. It's truly crazy to see that there's actually people out there in the world or in the space that are doing it, but you gotta understand there's evil out there, and they don't care. They don't care about how you feel. All they care about is, can I get what you have? And we want to prevent them. So make sure you're doing your research as well. We're working to provide a whole other aspect of the security and understanding to this. And, if you have any questions about things that you've experienced or anything that you want to report, definitely drop it into the Discord and the need help support tickets, because we want to identify all the things that we can, and we want to help to prevent and protect all of you. So, I like that story, because for me, when I first read through it, it definitely opened up a lot of my, my understanding of things. And it was just crazy to see how things have changed. And, you'll get a lot of emails about phishing emails. And those are things that, in my corporate job that I've had before, that, you get training on that. And so that's something that we want to kind of create as this space to train, to educate, to understand, so that we can prevent anybody from possibly losing their assets. So awesome. That was cool. Again, we are looking to have more people come on for interviews. We have somebody lined up for Wednesday. I'm not going to say who just yet. We're going to line up some tweets here on, I think it was either Monday or Tuesday. So definitely look out for that in the Discord or on Twitter. And again, let's hop over into the live. So we had a great story there, and I want to see more about the community's feedback in that regard. I want to hear, did you like it? I know this is kind of my first time going through it. How can I improve the execution on it? Please, I'm an open book. You won't hurt my feelings. Tell me how to make it better. This is something that, as a podcast, as a team, as a community, we want to push it to the next level. And I understand that sometimes that I don't always provide the most effective method of executing this, but I want to hear your feedback, community. Tell me what I can do to improve, because I enjoy providing these new kinds of changes and these concepts of the podcast. So if there's anything else that you want to suggest, this was just one thing. I provided these security stories. Maybe there's something more. Maybe you want me to provide some funny stories or more news related. Definitely throw those suggestions out as we keep on growing. This is something that we want to make with the podcast as well. We want to take the podcast even further and see, how much we can get engaged. And again, I'm open to the feedback. So throw it out there. What else are we doing? We are checking out the vote. So now I'm going to head over to the Discord. Let's see what the vote says. So what are we deciding? We are deciding about what is going on with the design for the Dubai office. We have two different options, two different mood boards. Here is the first mood board. Check it out. It's a lighter environment. It's got a nice flow to it. Like I said earlier, I feel productive just looking at it. So it's exciting. there. And here is the other option. Ooh, look at that business vibe. Dang, I feel like I'm already making something. I'm making a cool product from just looking at this thing. Cool. But all right. So the final reveal of what the community has decided is, ooh, it is option one. We have decided to go with option one. So I'm going to relay this information over there to the team, and we will see how, we had some of our initial votes in the internal team. So it was fun to see how it actually played out in the community. Again, great stuff. Ask some of us about which one we voted on. But thank you, community, for participating in this. It's one of those bigger decisions that we've made, because it's going to define how our office is designed and set up. And it's really going to set the tone and drive us in this Meta Legends project community and take us even further. So super excited there with that. And, for the legend, or I'm going to say legends of the week, I want to give a shout out to the judges that hopped on for Wednesday, because we had the new game show kind of vibe going in the lounge, and it was fun. It was a last minute idea because I wanted to try to spice it up a little bit to see how it kind of interacted, and it had a lot of positive reviews. So we're going to look to take that to a whole nother level continuing forward. And, like I said, we listen to your feedback. I love to hear all the stuff that you have to say, community. We want to know more about it, and tell us anything that you think that would be constructive for us. We are here in the Discord. We are receptive. We want to improve this project just as much as you do. We want to take it to new levels. So make sure you're communicating with us, and we are super excited to see where we take this project. We're building a rocket, baby. We are building the rocket. We are going to blast off. Get excited. Any other questions, head over to the Discord. And, if you have anything that you want to mention to me, shoot me DM me, however you want to go about it. I'm always open to discuss things. And again, stay legendary. Thank you again, fam. We will see you over there in the Discord. Lock it in.